Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. Welcome back to another What's for Dinner video. I've got some really simple and easy recipes and just meal ideas. Not all of these are even recipes, they're just kind of showing you what we've been having really quick to put together. It's kind of been an off couple of weeks, so I'm just gonna share with you what we've been having up for dinner. Also, before we get too far into this, I just wanted to let you know that I decided to start a second channel. So if you enjoy my DIY videos and like crafting hauls and that kind of thing, I'm gonna move those over to another channel. So if you enjoy those, I would love it if you would go subscribe. The channel is Simply Enjoying Crafting, and I will have everything linked below. There's no videos up yet, but I plan to have those coming this week. So if you would subscribe and hit the notification bell, that would be awesome and really help me out. I'm excited to continue bringing that content, but I decided that I needed to separate it off of this channel. So, all right, without further ado, let's get going into the meal ideas. So for tonight's dinner, we're gonna have some steaks. I'm gonna send these out to Jesse on the grill. They have been seasoned with some salt, garlic powder, and onion powder on both sides, and we're just kind of letting them sit out for a minute, well, more than a minute. A little bit to get closer to room temperature before we throw them on the grill. And for the sides for tonight's dinner, we kept it really simple. I don't even remember what we had going on this day, but like I said, it's been a little bit of a crazy couple of weeks. I don't even remember what day we made this for dinner, but we just had some good old boxed mac and cheese. We like Annie's shells and white cheddar. And then I asked my husband, I said, hey, do you want to grab some footage on the grill? And he did, but he forgot that you're supposed to turn the camera, so that's all right. He did a really good job with these steaks. These were probably the best steaks I've ever had. I'm not really sure what the difference was. I know it was I believe it was a filet. We purchased half of a cow, so we have a lot of different cuts of meat. But anyways, when he brought those in, I just put a little pat of butter on each of the steaks and then covered them with tin foil while I got the rest of the side dishes. So we steamed up some green beans, like I said, and then some Annie's boxed mac and cheese. Really simple, and this dinner was absolutely delicious. Like I said, these steaks were amazing, and I don't do a lot of this kind of stuff for the sides, but sometimes you just need to go simple. All right guys, so for tonight's dinner, we're gonna be making a beef ramen stir fry thing. I'm gonna bring you a little closer. I have done this before, but of course I don't make it the same each time. So I figured I'd share it with you. I will have the original recipe linked below. I think the recipe calls for peppers. I'm not doing peppers, but I am adding in carrots. There's a few things I'm doing different. I'm gonna start by dicing up. I think I'm only gonna do like half of the onion. All right, next I'm going to peel and slice up 3 carrots. I think I'm gonna do them like really small, skinny, like matchstick style. And there we have our carrots. So we've got the veggies chopped up. We need to also chop up some broccoli, but I'm using frozen broccoli. So I'm gonna partially cook mine before I start chopping it up, because these do come in big chunks, but it's kind of hard to chop frozen broccoli. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and make the sauce as well. Doesn't take long to make it, but I'm kind of meal prepping, not meal prepping. I don't know, maybe meal prepping? I'm prepping the food ahead of time. I'm not gonna start cooking it quite yet because my husband is out for a run, so I'm gonna wait till he's back before I actually start cooking everything. But I want everything ready to go. So again, I will have the original recipe linked in the description box below. I think the recipe also calls for apple cider vinegar, which I don't have, and green onions or something. So I'm gonna do a variation. I'm also gonna make more of it than it calls for. The recipe calls to use 2 packages of noodles, and I'm gonna do 3 because we always have leftovers and we never have enough noodles in the leftovers. So I'm gonna make a little more sauce because of that. So I'm using coconut aminos. You can use soy sauce. The recipe calls for a 1/4 cup. I'm gonna do about, I'm just gonna double it. I'm gonna do a 1/2 cup because I like the sauce. Recipe calls for 1 tablespoon of brown sugar. I'll do 2. I'm gonna estimate this, but we'll call that 1 and 2. 2 teaspoons of sriracha. So I'm gonna do about 4. And 1 clove of garlic minced. I'm just gonna use the jarred stuff, and we're gonna do about that much. And that is it for the sauce. I'm gonna just set this aside and we'll get started in just a moment. I do have some red wine vinegar, so I'm gonna add in just a splash of that. I don't know that it's exactly equating to apple cider vinegar. Well, I mean, I know it's not, but we're gonna go with it. All right, so I'm gonna start with the onions because I want them done a little bit more than the rest. And by this point, my broccoli has been out of the freezer for a little bit, so I'm gonna chop it up now. It's thawed enough. And then in just a few minutes, we will toss the broccoli and the carrots in with the onions and get it all cooked up, and then we'll cook up the ground beef. All right, so I just checked and the veggies are nice and tender, so I'm going to empty this to a bowl and then we're gonna cook up the ground beef. Once the ground beef is done, you can drain any fat, and then I'm adding the veggies back into there, and we're gonna just drizzle the sauce over top and combine that and get that kind of all married together with the sauce and the vegetables heated back through. And then I'm just boiling in a pot 3 packages of ramen. Like I said, we decided to do 3 instead of the 2 that the recipe calls for. And then when those are done, which they only take like 3 minutes, we're gonna drain them. And then I'm deciding to mix everything together in the pot just because it's bigger than my pan. So we're going to toss everything together. I like to use tongs because that helps kind of separate the noodles and mix it all together. And Jesse likes to eat his with some water chestnuts on top, so that's also an option. And this is always so good every time we make it. It's definitely a favorite. Alright, so for this next dinner, we're headed back out to the grill for some burgers. And I just wanted to show you kind of how I season my burgers. It's kind of basic, but I did add something in a little bit different this time. I'm just adding in some salt, garlic powder, some onion powder, and a little bit of Worcestershire sauce, Worcestershire, however you say it. And then I decided to add in just a touch of brown sugar, so not much. I added in maybe a half of a tablespoon of brown sugar. And then, yes, I like my gloves on when mixing the raw meat. I just don't like picking raw meat out of my fingernails. And I'm just gonna form those into patties. I just did 1 pound of ground beef. And then we're gonna send those out to the grill. All right, so I am making some mini little potatoes. I've actually never cooked these before. I mean, I've seen them and had them before, but I've never made them. So just 1 small bag. I have no idea how much that is, if it's like a pound, I don't know. I just washed them really good and I just trimmed off any not great spots, but there really weren't much. And we are going to drizzle some olive oil, and then we're gonna add some thyme, rosemary, parsley. We're gonna add in some garlic and some salt. You could also do garlic powder, I guess, if you wanted. And then I'm just using my homemade ranch seasoning. I don't have a whole lot left, maybe a tablespoon. I would definitely use more than that if I had it, but I don't. So we're just gonna do that. Maybe I'll add in a little extra dill though. I'm not sure. Let's find out. I'm definitely doing these seasonings just to taste here. I'm gonna do probably a good teaspoon of the salt and probably a little less than that of each of the parsley, rosemary, and thyme. Ooh, I almost dumped that because that does not have a shaker on it. I need to put a shaker on that one. All right, I don't feel like making any more ranch seasoning right this moment, so I am gonna just add in a little bit of dill weed and a little bit of garlic powder and onion powder. All right, we're gonna put these in the oven at 365 for about 45 minutes. Actually, I'm changing my mind. The recipe, I'm not really using a recipe for the ingredients, but I am using a recipe for the cook time, and it says 365 for 45 minutes, and then you bump it up to 450 for 10 to 15 minutes. We're gonna do these at 425 for maybe like a half an hour. We'll see, I'll check them after 30 minutes. All right, this is 30 minutes at 425. They are squeaking. They feel pretty good. I'm trying to flip that one over. But I think I'm gonna pop them back in. So I can get a fork in there, but it's a little firm. I'm gonna put it back in for a few minutes while we get our burgers all put together, and then I'll pop these back out. All right, another few minutes in the potatoes and they're good. We've got our burgers. I put some pepper jack cheese on Jesse's and some cheddar on mine. We've got our keto rolls that I've showed you that we got from Aldi. I had some left over that were in the freezer, so I defrosted those. And some pasta salad from the other day when we had dinner with my family. There was a little bit left over. Some tomatoes and lettuce, ketchup, mustard, pickles, you know, the norm, but I'm looking forward to the feast. All right, so I'm not actually giving you a recipe, I'm just showing you what we had for dinner. This was a crazy day. I picked up a chicken from Walmart, already done and cooked. I just heated it up in the oven, some leftover potatoes, and some steamed broccoli, and that's what was for dinner on this night. I just needed something quick and easy because it was errand day. And then this next one, I'm not fully showing you a recipe, but I'm kind of showing you what I did. My husband had had a wisdom tooth removed, and I wanted to make him up some chicken noodle soup, but he had to have small, like everything really small and super tender. So I took some leftover chicken and I cut up some chicken really tiny, some celery, onions, and carrots into like little pieces, sauteed them so they were nice and tender, and added in a little bit of minced garlic. And then we just added in some chicken broth, and I did not do any measurements here. I wasn't making this for me to eat, I was just making this for him. I actually ended up making this 2 days in a row because he ate really good. He did have an appetite, he just was not getting filled on all of the soft foods he could eat, so he ate quite a bit of this. So I just kind of added in however much chicken broth. I think I had about 2.5 to 3 cups maybe left in this carton, and I ended up opening up another one. So I probably put a total of like maybe 4 or 5 cups of chicken broth, and then we just let that come warm up nice and good, and then we'll add in some noodles. Sorry for the camera work here, I didn't even have time to set up a tripod. I just thought, well, let me just show them really quick what I'm doing for dinner on this night. I did add in a little bit of salt as well, but not a ton, and I'm not going to show you this because I end up shaking the camera really bad while doing that. So I just had some of this pasta noodles in my pantry, so we're going to use that for our noodles, but I did break them up into like probably 1.5 inch long pieces, and if you can kind of see them here, I just broke them up, tossed them in there, and then I decided to add more chicken broth at this time, and we're just going to bring that up to a simmer until the noodles are cooked. So this is just a very quick thrown together kind of chicken noodle soup, but I figured it'd be fun to share it with you anyway. So that's what he had, and he said it was really, really good. So came out good. Alright guys, well that's going to do it for today's video. If you liked it, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you have not yet done so already. Also head over to my other channel, Simply Enjoying Crafting, for my DIYs and crafting hauls if you're into that kind of thing. And I will be posting some videos there, hopefully starting this week. And I'll also continue posting as usual here on this channel. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Have a wonderful week, and I'll see you soon.